Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'll be taking you through 5 principles you have to follow when playing against grandmasters. You should know the following. Number 1. Calculations are key from the opening to the end game. Number 2. Under time pressure, anyone can blunder regardless of their title. Number 3. You have to attack to defend in order to get a result from a grandmaster. Number 4. There is no demigod on the chessboard. Without risk, there is no win. Number 5. Never undermine an attack. Think through before you make your next move. I will explain every principle during the analysis of this game. The game I'm about to show you is a masterpiece played between Mwali Chitumbo from Zambia against Fawzy Adham from Egypt in round 6 of the Budapest Hungary Chess Olympiad 2024. So briefly about Mwali Chitumbo, aka the Copper Eagle. He has won the African Junior Chess Championship in 2006 and he earned his silver medal on board 4 in 2007 in All Africa Games. After winning the Zambian Chess World Cup qualifier in 2021, he qualified to play in the Chess World Cup 2021. In the first round of the World Cup, Chitumbo lost the first game against a matcher higher rated GM, Hik Mitrosian, before winning the second game to take the counter to tiebreaks, where he was defeated 2-0 in the rapid games. He went on to win the Zambian qualifiers to compete in the 2023 World Cup, where he was defeated by Mustafa Liamaz in the first round. He's also an accountant and a chess coach. Fawzy Adham is the third highest rated player on the African continent. He won the 2018 and 2019 African Junior Chess Championship, and he also finished third in the 2021 African Chess Individual Championship, qualifying for his first World Cup in 2021, and he has also won the 2023 African Chess Championship. In the white pieces is Mwali Chitumbo from Zambia and the black pieces Fawzy Adham from Egypt. played c4, the English opening, and Adam Fawzy played e5. Then g3, trying to open for the bishop to be on g2 and to take control of the whole of this diagonal. So knight f6, trying to develop bishop g2. Now there's an interesting variation which can begin with c6, then after d4, e takes d4, then queen takes d4 and d5. It is a very interesting variation which you can pick on, but however, after bishop g2, Adam Fawzy played d5, and after c takes d5, knight takes d5. After knight f3, if black goes ahead and plays e4, is a blunder because white can play queen f4 check, and after knight c6, queen takes e4 check, and it means white is up a full pawn. That's why after knight f3, Fawzy played knight c6, just defending the pawn which is on e5, and after short castling, then knight b6, d3, and after bishop e7, planning to go ahead for short castling, then he played a3. f3 is trying to go ahead and play b4 to expand on the queen side. That's why f5 was played, trying to stop the plan of expansion. b3 is a weakness. That's why I told you that you have to calculate from the opening to the end game. Now b3 is a small weakness, and black can attack that weakness immediately by playing bishop e6, as we shall see in the game. So played bishop e6, attacking the weakness immediately. After bishop b2 is attacking the pawn which is on e5, then f6, strengthening the pawn, knight b d2, still defending the pawn which is on b3, then short castling. played rook c1. So the plan is simple. Knight can come and sit on e4 and then knight c5, which can be a very simple plan to execute in the future. Queen d7. And in this position, the simple continuation, which is very easy to play in the position, is simply playing knight e4, and after bishop d5, knight c5. And you see this knight can be attacking the queen at the same time attacking the pawn which is on b7. So bishop takes knight on c5 and then rook takes c5 can be a very good variation to play. But however, in the game, IM played queen c2, rook f d8, rook f d1, queen goes back to e8, planning to plank the queen on f7, attacking the pawn which is on b3, can also be seen in the position. But IM went on to weaken the position further, and he played e3, planning to go ahead and play d4. There is an interesting move which weakens the white side by playing f4. If black goes ahead to play moves like f4, in case of pawn takes f4, then knight can take the pawn, attacking the bishop. At the same time, also the bishop is attacking the pawn. So after f4, if white goes ahead to play b4, then bishop takes, sacrificing the bishop, and after a takes b4, knight takes b4, attacking the queen, at the same time attacking the pawn. Queen takes c7, which is attacking the knight, at the same time moving away from the attack of the knight, which was on b4. Then knight 6 goes to d5, attacking the queen, and after queen c4, a3, attacking the bishop, bishop a1, rook f4, trying to pin queen h4, and then knight takes d3. So the rook is attacking the queen, at the same time attacking the rook, which is on c1. And after rook c4, knight takes e3, opening up the bishop to attack the rook, and also the knight is attacking. White has no time to win the knight, so the only move they have is rook takes f4. And after knight f5, attacking the queen, queen e4, knight c5, attacking the rook, at the same time the queen. And I can tell you that at least black will have compensation. Let's go back. After queen e8, IM played e3, and the GM played queen f7, attacking the pawn which is on b3. He's pushing hard to attack the weakness, d4, and after e takes d4, sacrificing a full pawn, knight takes d4, knight takes d4. In this position, IM played bishop takes d4, and now you see that the pawn which is on a3 is hanging. Then GM went on to play bishop takes a3, rook a1, attacking the bishop, bishop goes back to b4, and after bishop takes b7, rook a b8, bishop e4, f5, hitting straight to the bishop which is on e4. So the best position for the bishop was supposed to go back on g2, but the IM insisted and put the bishop on c6, bishop c6, and a very interesting rook d6 could be played in the position. But however, the GM played h6, trying to give room for the king to breathe, and after rook b1, defending the pawn which is on b3, now planning to move the knight which is on b4. When I was beginning this video, I said I'm going to analyze each principle one by one. Then I said there is no demigod on the chessboard. Without risk, there is no win. So the GM in this position went on to risk the game, and he played pawn f4. Very strong move, and it's a brilliant move. For example, he's trying to open up the king side. If pawn takes pawn, then rook takes bishop, and it means white is a piece down. Let's go back. After f4, IM played g takes f4. Then GM went on to sacrifice the rook and played rook takes d4. A very strong move. Now he's trying to rip apart the white side. And after pawn takes d4, this is a position where you have to calculate and calculate until you reach the best move in the position. The GM played knight d5. And in this position, you know that this knight is coming to c3, attacking the rook, and the rook which is on d1. And what do you have to do? In the principles which I told you in the game, I said you have to attack to defend in order to get a result from a grandmaster. And IM missed this principle, and he played knight f1. But that was an interesting move which would make him still stay in the game. That is playing knight e4. So you are moving your knight up and also looking at the c3 square. At the same time, trying to defend the king side by playing knight g3 in the future. And after knight takes f4, then f3. If rook b6 attacking the bishop, then king h1, moving away from all those simple attacks and checks. And I can tell you at least IM would still be standing. But however, after knight d5, IM played knight f1. And then the GM went ahead and played knight c3, forking the rooks. Since the GM is going to get back the sacrificed rook, and after knight g3, knight takes b1, rook takes b1. Then in this position, black played queen takes f4. Amidst all the moves which have been played, you can see that the GM is pressing and is pressing on. He's risking everything in order to get a result. So he played bishop e4, and after rook f8. Now you see that rook f8 is trying to create a battery on the pawn which is on f2. Rook d1, trying to defend the pawn, and after bishop g4, attacking the rook, rook d3. So there was an interesting move which will begin with bishop comes to e1, still attacking the pawn, and also the rook and the queen attacking the pawn which is on f2. But however, the GM played h5, which is also a good move, and you see he's planning to go ahead to play h4 so that he can take the bishop which is on e4. h3, if bishop takes h3, then queen c4 check, and after king h8, rook f3, queen d6, then rook takes f8. And I can tell you at least the game is equal. h3, 8, bishop e6, then rook f3, queen g5, pinning down the knight and threatening to go ahead to play h4, then h4 instead to deviate the queen. And after queen takes h4, rook takes f8, bishop takes f8. In the position, IM went ahead to play d5, and after bishop g4, queen takes c7, queen g5. So now he's ready to go ahead and push the pawn on h4, d6. So you see as he's pushing so hard to go and queen, so the GM played queen e5, pinning down the pawn and against the queen. So if you go ahead and push the pawn, then you lose the queen. The IM went on to play bishop g6, but there was an interesting variation which would begin with queen d8, and after queen takes d6, queen takes a5, h4, then knight f1. And I can tell you at least white would have more fighting chances. After queen e5, IM played bishop d6, a very ambitious move, and after bishop takes d6, because of time pressure, he played queen f7 check, king h8, then bishop h5, queen e6, trying to exchange the queens, then he played king g2. In this position, it was wise of the IM to exchange the queens, because if you look at the game, everything is drawish. Exchange the queens, and then you can go on to play the game comfortably. But the IM insisted, and he played king g2, which gave the GM a chance to play king h7, moving away from all the attacks. And after queen b7, a very ambitious move, trying to push on to win, then the GM unleashed the tactic. He played bishop h3 check, and after king h2, bishop f5. Now he's going ahead to begin the zugzwang in the position. In this position, the best move for the IM to survive the game, he was supposed to play bishop f3, taking control of the whole of the diagonal. But however, he played bishop f7, attacking the queen, which was very ambitious. So queen h6 check, king g1, bishop times g3, and in this position, the game was busted, because the next move, which could make the IM still stay in the game, was playing queen f3, but this one would be losing. So he tried pawn takes, then queen e3 check, king h2, bishop e4, cutting off the queen. That's why the bishop was supposed to be on this diagonal. Bishop comes to e4, And after queen c7, a desperate move. Queen f2 check, king h3, then bishop g2. So here there is checkmate in 5, and after king g4, queen f3 check, king h4, queen f6. In this position, I am Mwali Chitumbo resigned the game because even after playing moves like king g4, then there is bishop f3 check, and after moves like king comes to h3, then queen h6, which could be checkmate. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.